Where are we going?
What's that?
Where are we going?
Going back to Arkansas.
What?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
They appreciate hunting games more, I think. I want to be next to my family, and you give in to my request fairly easily. Oh,
That's true.
Sorry. The growing season.
Oh, that's also true.
We moved, but not to a homestead. To really understand our thought process, we really have to start at the beginning of the current leg of our journey. So we're originally from Arkansas. I mean, Steven was born in Arkansas, and I grew up in Little Rock. I lived in central Arkansas for 17 years before we moved to Oklahoma, and Steven was born and raised in Hot Springs. So what ultimately led us to Oklahoma was a career opportunity for Steven. At that point, we already knew we wanted land to homestead on. We just weren't ready to buy a lot of land so far from family in Oklahoma. So in the spring of 2021, Steven's position in the company that he works for was no longer locationally tied to where we were in Oklahoma, so we decided to start looking for more space closer to home. We were looking for about 1 to 5 acres with a house already on it that we could ideally renovate to make exactly what we wanted. Because of what houses and land's current prices are, we really weren't in a rush. And then October 3rd happened.
In a developing story, a teenager is in jail tonight after a shooting in Bartlesville.
It woke us up that night. It was so loud. It sounded like it was almost inside our house.
Just before midnight last night is when that 16-year-old boy shot a man.
The first thing I did was I ran to check on the kids. I have no idea how, but thankfully they slept through the entire ordeal. I am so incredibly thankful for that. They don't have any recollection of that night. They don't have that night as a core memory, and I thank all the powers that be for that small little thing. Honestly, after that, we no longer felt that our 24-month timeline was something that we were comfortable with. We really didn't want our kids to be growing up in that type of a neighborhood, that type of an environment. This wasn't an isolated incident. There had been other things that had happened in the past that were unsettling, that we weren't happy with. That was part of the reason why we decided not to make that space our forever home to begin with. But because this particular incident happened on our corner, we no longer felt as if that was a place that our children needed to be. So we decided our best course of action was to move back to a home that we already owned in Arkansas. We just needed to wait for our tenant's lease to be up, and thankfully they were already in the market for purchasing their own home, and so our 24-month plan turned into a 2-month plan. To be completely honest, the most difficult aspect of this entire change was the fact that I wasn't in a mental headspace where I was done with my urban homestead in Oklahoma. I was still planning for more changes, more expansion, and having to take apart all of those garden beds, rehoming the chickens, rehoming the rabbits, and watching all my years worth of hard work basically drive away in trailers and dumpsters was an incredibly emotional time for me. As much sadness as I have for the loss of that space, I also have an equal amount of excitement and hope and vision for my new space. I am so incredibly excited to get to design a brand new garden space for myself here in this new property. I'm really excited to try some new things, try some new gardening techniques, and I'm definitely gonna have some more challenges in this space because there's more restrictions, and I find that incredibly exciting just because it forces me to think more creatively. I am not allowed to do as much things here in this space, so I have to think more out of the box to get the production and the yield that I'm hoping to get. So welcome to the next stage in our journey as we build up this urban homestead in central Arkansas, because we are definitely still homestead dreaming here at Homestead Dreaming.